I don't ever want to watch Deep Space Nine because that show sucks.
No, don't say that. Oh, no.
I'm kidding. I just wanted to see your face.
Captain's Pod, Stardate 813123.1. Welcome aboard the Starship's Enterprise, and thank you for joining us as we take a brief shore leaf from the world of CinemaSins to explore the universe of Star Trek. I'm your Captain Ian Whittington, and with me as always, she's not allowed in Starfleet until her brain powers stop making her shipmates crazy. It's Ambassador Deneé.
I don't think that's ever going to happen. I feel like I am destined to make my shipmates crazy forever.
Even without the mental powers.
Yeah.
Well, luckily our version of Starfleet is way more tolerant than your version of Starfleet.
Do we have a version of Starfleet?
Okay, sorry. The real version of Starfleet is more... I say real. I wish it was real. The real version of Starfleet is more tolerant than your version of Starfleet, which kicks people out based on their differences.
Some people just need to have a check-in. There needs to be some sort of like...
Like customs declaration form, like a nothing to declare line.
Yeah.
But for powers?
Yeah. But for powers...
Do you have anything that you're bringing onto the ship that could be dangerous? That's not a bad idea.
I'm just saying, like, if I am going to work with people, I feel like I should be told that there's a chance that I might suddenly be impacted by them in proximity. And here are the warning signs of getting ill. What do you think the warning signs of working with me are when things have gone wrong?
It's kind of like a mild irritation, but you don't know where it's coming from.
It's like a chafing?
No, not chafing. But it's kind of like something's annoying me, but I don't know what it is. Because you're so subtle and nice about it. But then you're just like, it's Deneé. She's driving me crazy because she's right. This thing I'm doing is wrong, and she has a better way of doing it, and she's right.
Wow. I kind of like this. I accept your description of me, Captain Whittington.
Man, I was walking a fucking line there. Before we get into some emails, there was one more shocking thing about Vulcans I wanted to see if you knew about. You should know this one, I think. Do you know about the Vulcan neck pinch?
Yes.
Yeah. Because that's another superpower that I think they shouldn't have. Anyone, pretty much anybody, unconscious, immediate. Neck pinch, unconscious.
I learned how to do this in martial arts.
It's not a thing.
It is a thing.
Do it to me.
No, I absolutely will not because it's been too long. I haven't been trained in it long enough. I don't want to damage you.
I don't believe it's a thing. I think everybody would be doing it. I think everyone would do it if it was a thing.
Well,
I would do it to myself to get to sleep.
If you learn martial arts in the proper environment, you don't do it because the only reason you use yourself as a weapon is if you have to, not for funsies.
Yeah, but humans.
I'm sure it's happening. We just don't know about it.
Humans eat Tide Pods. That happened.
Yeah, that did happen. Yeah, you're right about that.
I think it's, if we had an off button like Data, it would be game over.
But we do.
With just a neck pinch?
It's more of a chopping action with your hands.
No, but now we're like kind of bordering into, if you punch me, there's a chance you'll knock me out.
Yeah.
I mean a precision, precise, pressing this node will make you lose consciousness.
If you are precise in a hand chop to the right spot on the neck, you will go unconscious.
Yeah, man. Feel free to experiment on me. Do it.
I refuse.
I want to sleep.
Okay, there's a part of me that's super chaotic that super wants to say yes.
We're going to video it. This will be how Captain...
No, I am not going to be held responsible for what... No, I'm not doing it.
This will be how Captain's Pod debuts on TikTok and stuff.
Oh my God.
Trying to chop me. Do the Vulcan neck pinch challenge. No. Started the thing. Okay, let's do some emails. Okay, hailing frequencies open, everyone. It's time for us to read your emails from Discord, Twitter, and, well, email. Okay, first one is from Twitter. Apologies in advance because I'm going to butcher your name. Ken Holtzhauser, at Dr. Von Wer. I think I got all of that right. Correct me if I didn't. I'm so glad I discovered this podcast. So much fun. Here's a question as you're discussing watching TOS episodes. Will it all be classics you Will it all be the classics that you throw in, or will you do some hardcore, campy, messy nonsense in there as well?
Oh, please, hardcore campy nonsense in there as well.
my
Please
goodness.
do the campy. I want to see some crazy.
TOS has it. I think TOS has the craziest episodes.
My dad and I used to sit down and watch ridiculous sci-fi. I will never forget coming into the living room and he had on Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
And I was enthralled because I was so little that it was amazing. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was amazing because I had never seen anything like that. And I was little enough to not be seeing like the
Pure
strings
imagination.
attached. You know? Yeah. So there was something about watching that kind of like ridiculousness happening in sci-fi that I will always be open for.
Like Buck Rogers? Did he ever watch Buck Rogers?
I don't remember. Like Kroll. Do you remember Kroll?
No, I never watched Kroll.
Oh my God. Kroll is delightfully strange. It's such a... Anyway, Kroll is where I had a phobia of people with pure black eyes. Came from that movie.
Oh, I know this story. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, they're creepy MFers. So 2S has some like super campy stuff. Like you see a man in a rabbit costume on. They basically take some like flower drugs and hallucinate rabbits and stuff. It's pretty insane.
It sounds like Minecraft.
Yeah, that's kind of a Minecraft episode. There's a lot of dancing, a lot of naked women, a lot of naked men.
Why is this sounding like something we shouldn't do? Let's fucking do it.
No, you're right. We should do it. I guess I was going to introduce you with some like top tier philosophical TOS, but I guess we just do the campy shit.
No, show me the reason that this TOS was TOS. I want to.
All right, I want to show you some of the bonkers shit. Okay, we're definitely leaning towards doing some TOS now. Yeah, okay. Thank you for that, Ken. Next up, Stephen, who is Link on Twitch. I finally found your question. I found it buried in the annals of Twitter. It's a slightly late question. It goes, I have a question for you guys. Is there any cameos you would like to see in the next season of Lower Decks? And if so, who would you like to see? So from all of Star Trek, who would you like to see appear animated in this season of Lower Decks?
Worf, of course.
Right.
Like, how could I don't think I could. I don't think there's another answer to that question for me.
I'm honestly a little bit shocked we haven't seen him already.
I think he has the right voice for it. Obviously, Data would be fantastic, some form of Data, but
yeah, Data would be incredible.
Really, any of them would be fun, but I think Worf, after seeing him in Picard, I'm a bit obsessed with Worf.
Especially, I want to know what. Specifically, I want to know what he did between the last TNG movie and Picard, because he's been on a fascinating journey to end up the Worf that we see him in Picard season 3.
Yeah.
So good.
I choose Worf.
Yeah. I think my answer would be Data or the holographic Doctor from Voyager.
Oh, yeah. That'd be
I miss his sarcasm so
he
much.
was
And
such
I want to know what he's
character.
doing.
Yeah.
He's so witty, and I want to know how he's doing. Like, now that he has freedom, he's one of the... And to tie that in with Badgie, the comm badge, and Peanut Hamper, the AI stuff, the hologram stuff, they could draft him in to help diffuse that situation. Maybe I've just predicted Lower Decks. He would be great. I would love to see him. That would be my answer, I think. Nice. Well, thank you for your questions, guys. Drop us an email, captainspod@cinemasins.com, captainspodcs on Twitter, and discord.gg/cinemasins to chat with us on there. Okay, let's do some predictions. The episode title this week, I actually really need to read this one. They're throwing some weird titles at us. This is season 4, episode 6, Parth Ferengi's Heart Place. I don't know. I know those words. I don't know what path means, but I know the words, but not what they mean.
So are you saying path?
Path. P-A-R-T-H.
Oh, that's just not built for a British person to say.
It's really not.
Path.
It's really not. Path.
So can you say...
Path.
Can you say Path's path?
Path's path. Path's Ferengi's Heart Place.
Can you say the word path and Parth back?
Do you mean in your accent? Path?
No, you. Like, yeah. Like, I just want to hear you say Parth and path.
What path?
Like P-A-T-H.
Oh. Path. Path.
No, you do not say path.
Path. Path.
You don't say path.
So in the north of England, they'd say path.
But what do you say?
I say path.
Okay, can you say Parth and path as you say it?
Path and path.
You are such a liar. You say
I'm
path.
so confused what you
say
want me to
path
say.
and path.
Path.
And path.
Oh, right. Yeah. They're both the same. Path and path.
Thank you for
It's all path and
finally
parcel.
saying it. Jesus.
I'm sorry, you were telling me to say path and path.
In the way that you say it would sound like path and
Right,
path.
but if an American was saying it, it would be.
I'm not asking American to say it,
to
Ian.
path.
I'm asking you to say it, and you're not American.
But I was confused. So path would be exactly the same.
Now,
Path.
Now say Walter and water. Please.
Water. I'm saying two different words, okay? It's not the same thing.
Sorry. What were we talking about?
Before we get into the episode, on my flight over here, the lady ignored me. She was like, would you like a drink? And I said, yeah, I'd like some water. And she said, what? I said, a glass of water. And she went, okay, and left. Didn't come back with a drink.
Poor you.
My life is so hard. Anyway, predictions. What's happening in this episode?
Ferengi's heart path. So we're talking about...
No, a path, Ferengi's heart place.
We're talking about a path to a Ferengi's heart, which is through the ears. So this is clearly an episode about Ferengi sex.
Okay, nice. Big prediction. Ferengi sex. Get it. Oddly specific prediction.
Shenanigans. Just the shenanigans of... Okay,
No.
Okay.
You can do better than that.
Oddly specific?
Yeah.
Okay.
As if this is the first time we've done this.
We're going to see an apparatus that is designed for smoking. Inhalation of some kind.
Inhalation of a imbibement of some sort.
Yeah, an imbibement.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. I like that.
What's wrong with me?
Insane. I'm going to play it really safe.
Mm-hmm.
And much like last week with the Beta Zeds, I'm going to say we're going to go to the Ferengi home planet.
Okay.
Again, not a place we've been to. We have been on it in Deep Space Nine. We haven't been there a lot. And again, I think it's something Lower Decks loves to do. And I was very wrong last week. We did not go to Beta Z. Oddly specific. We will see a Ferengi cat.
A Ferengi cats, like the hairless cats with the big ears, like Mr. Bigglesworth. They have to.
They have to be now, don't they? They're all Siamese.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they all kind of look a bit Ferengi because that's what aliens do. Right, I'm completely lost. I don't know what we're doing. Let's go to the holodeck to watch the episode, and we'll see you all in 10 forward. We will be walking in the turbo lift.
Yes!
So I guess I find a new sounder.
Yes! Okay, just play a sounder of people walking.
Computer, beam us out.
No!
Welcome to 10 Forward, the part of the show where we grab a drink from the replicator and share our immediate thoughts and feelings on the episode we just watched together. Most important question first, what would you like from the replicator?
Water.
Just water?
Just water. After watching Mariner drink that much,
oh my goodness,
water.
You need to hydrate and get some electrolytes. Yeah, I do want the liquid that was glowing, the blue glowy liquid. I want to drink that.
You don't want the one that makes you have Ferengi ears?
No, but that's the helmet. I can put any drink in that, and I already have one of those. So
it looked like Mountain Dew, right?
Yeah. It was just really glowy Mountain Dew. All right, give us a synopsis.
Okie dokie. In this episode, we find out what would happen if two of our lovebirds decided to lovebird it up. Flash forward, we don't get to see them in lingerie, but we do get to see their naked effigies in chocolate.
Yeah, naked-ish.
And that's the whole episode.
What does Mariner do?
In today's episode, we visit the Ferengi homeland called Ferengi Land.
Nope.
Ferengologist.
Nope. You gonna get it?
Ferengball.
Nope.
Ferengi.
Nope.
He.
So close. Come on, you can do it.
Ferengia.
No, closer.
Pharyngeal.
Not even close. That's a different word entirely.
Do you think that Ferengi came from pharyngeal though? Like now that I'm thinking about it.
No. Wait, what does that mean?
How about phalange?
Probably. I would love to know what the origins of Ferengi is.
Ferengina.
Ferengi China?
Ferengina.
No, right. I had another place name on the end of Ferengi.
Oh my God. I don't remember. Are we going to do this for the rest of the show?
Yeah, this is it. This is in the next 50 minutes. Ferenginar.
Ferenginar.
There we go.
A place that maybe some people have been before, but not most people. It's been long enough that they need to update some sort of a travel brochure. And who better to go than our beloved team of adventurers? Somebody who needs counseling / mariner, who is still in this spiral of self-loathing and self-sabotage. Boimler, who finally takes a vacation unexpectedly.
Kinda. But still manages to ruin it.
And our lovebirds who are faking it. Why? Because there's something that needs to be signed. And it's going to get signed in a way that makes sure that you trust each other because you don't trust each other. Really not a lot happens in this episode.
And on that note, did you enjoy it? How do you feel about this week's episode? Overall thoughts and feelings.
If we're going to be ranking this season, this would be on the bottom for me.
Okay.
But I still liked it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't one that I was like, yeah. But also, I am not like a super Ferengi fan.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like this episode did a good job of staying in like the world of Ferengi.
Mm-hmm. Ferenginar.
Yeah, where they had that like little plate. What was that? Like what is it called? The monument that was to debt or something.
Oh, it was the Dominion War Memorial, but it wasn't about anyone that died. It was just about the lost prophets.
Yes. So they're like there's these kind of fun ways that the Ferengi people and their ways were on the showcase. So I feel like this would be a beloved episode for most. What did you think of it?
So, I mean, just to address the Ferengi-ness of it, the Ferengi episodes can be hit or miss in general, and there are people that love Ferengi episodes and people that hate them. Like, in TNG, there would be big Klingon episodes and people would be like, skip. Deep Space Nine had a lot of Ferengi episodes where they dove, like, most of what we know about the Ferengi and their culture and the money grabbing and stuff comes from Deep Space Nine. So this is very much an homage to one of those episodes. And overall, I liked it. It's still, for me, in the mid-season lull. So this week and last week are on the bottom end of kind of what we've experienced so far. But I still enjoyed it. But that's probably because I know, like, Lita and Rom, the Grand Nagus and his first clerk, I know them from Deep Space Nine.
Oh,
so
interesting.
I had a lot to tie in.
Okay.
So all of the baseball stuff made sense to me. I loved that.
So that's interesting because for me, they're new characters, and so I didn't know their dynamic. Did it change for you knowing that from the start they were getting taken to the cleaners? I feel like Captain was clear, like you're getting taken to the cleaners.
Yeah.
Like you are. So her confidence gave me that sort of. I got more confident that she was right, but because I didn't know the two characters, I didn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if they were really putting on a ruse or not.
Yeah.
Did that change for you?
No, I could tell because so Rom and Lita are an item. They're together, and they get together during the series of Deep Space Nine. And Rom is like the least Ferengi. And he's like much more reasonable. And whenever Quark is trying to con somebody, Rom is kind of like failing at being a Ferengi and trying to be more like generous and giving. His son joins Starfleet. He's the first Ferengi in Starfleet. And Lita eventually falls in love with him. And whenever Quark is trying to take advantage of Rom, because Rom is stupid. He's a great engineer, but he has no common sense at all. Lita will dive in and be like, Rom, you don't want to do this. This is what you want to do. And
so he really didn't have this, but because it seemed like he was aware that they were scamming.
Yeah, like by the end, it's clear that he was playing extra dumb to play along with this. But it's definitely Lita's plan, and Lita would have taken the lead.
Gotcha.
But yeah, at the end of Deep Space Nine, he is elected, quote unquote, Grand Nagus of Ferenginar. So he is the world leader. So we knew that. It's interesting to know what he's been doing since. And like loads of reforms. Joining the Federation is huge.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Let's just dive straight in. I love that because that's a big canon event, to like steal a phrase. That's that's a big deal. Like, that is something like the Ferengi, we've known them since the beginning of TNG. They've always been antagonists. Them joining the Federation is a big deal. So I love that Lower Decks is allowed to add to the world. So it's now
that's
official.
Really interesting.
For the Ferengi are part of the Federation. That's a huge freaking deal.
That's really, really big, especially for such a lame signature.
Yeah, but come on. It's Rom. They usually do things by fingerprints.
But it's weird that he signed in England, you know?
Correct. Yes. Federation
I guess that's
standard.
a sin. I just realized. Yeah, that's really nice.
It's a big step.
It must feel good as a writer to know that something that you suggested is being adopted by the greater story, because there's obviously fan-based stuff that isn't canon, but this is obviously canon. So that also must mean then that the Ferengi culture in and of itself, there is enough of a trust in how they operate that the Federation can confidently interact. And in this episode, our captain knows their language, knows their way enough that she was able to show that the Federation is trustworthy by understanding their way. And I like that scene a lot more than I probably should have.
No, I love that as well, because there is this kind of colonial thing about the Federation expanding, and aliens are worried that when they join the Federation, they lose part of themselves and they just become humanized. So I love that they've addressed that, and that the Ferengi don't want to join unless they can keep some core values and beliefs that they have. I really like that, because at the end of Deep Space Nine, we know that Rom is introducing some reforms, like social welfare, stuff like that. And Quark is going crazy because he's like, this isn't about profits, this is about helping people. What's going on? But I like that we haven't gone all the way to humanizing them, and Lita is still letting them be about profit and making a good deal and bartering, because that's what makes the Ferengi interesting.
Well, it starts off with them saying, here's a gift and here's the bill for the gift.
Oh, it's beautiful. I love that.
And the Federation pays them, like understanding, okay, this is part of how things are going to be with you, is a sort of expectation. I don't know how I felt about, so some of the customs that they have is really where a show like Lower Decks can just be insane. Like this Starfleet themed restaurant.
I love that so much.
Which I love the Star Trek themed restaurant.
Yes.
Let's just be clear. Like that was really fun. But the idea that you have to showcase your love and prove it by having compliments that can be weighed against some sort of technology that can tell if you're lying, and then you have to have sex so that everyone can hear you have sex. Now, I guess the reality is for all time, if anyone was to purchase this package at Starfleet, that at the Starfleet Wine and Dine Barbecue Inn, whatever they called it. What was the name of that one? I want to look it up because I thought it was pretty fun.
Oh, I can't remember.
The Starfleet Experience Bar and Grill.
There we go. I want to go there.
That technically you don't have to seal the deal of your relationship. You can just make the noises and make it sound like however you want it to sound like. This is also technically canon. You know, you have to think like, yay, they're part of Starfleet, but also in canon
this exists.
is that there's a place that Starfleet chose to send Tendi and Rutherford to pretend to be in a relationship and just didn't explain to them that this was going to be happening.
Or
so
they
the whole
didn't
time,
know.
You don't think?
No, because this was to update the tourism guide. So they may not know about these new places.
Something that evolves at a restaurant. I guess I don't know.
Just a new restaurant with a new thing. There's a lot of sexiness in Star Trek.
So much.
So much. I do love that the Bar and Grill is loosely based on the Star Trek experience that was in Las Vegas once upon a time. And they had a big Enterprise D and Voyager hanging up in the sky. And that was kind of like an homage to that. So that was a really, really nice touch. I stole that from Twitter.
That's nice.
But that's really, really, really cool.
So should we maybe also, before we continue to have a round episode and talk about what we liked, what we didn't like, and things like that, should we talk about our predictions?
Oh, I mean, of course. Deneé is itching to talk about her prediction because your oddly specific, your big prediction.
My big prediction.
Your big prediction was that there would be Ferengi sex. Sadly, that did not happen.
There was a naked Ferengi and there was a sexy restaurant.
There was some almost sex. There was no actual Ferengi sex. There was more sex in this episode than I anticipated, and that's on me. That's my bad.
I personally was surprised at how close I got on that one. That was, I mean, I
you
almost
got close.
Yeah. And I feel like my oddly specific one was some sort of smoking / inhalation apparatus, and I feel like we were really close to that too. On some of
there should have
like
been one in the library
right?
somewhere. Yeah,
Right.
There really should have been. My big prediction was that we go to Ferengi,
which you immediately were correct about.
Immediately got that right. I should have got that right last week as well. They should have gone to Beta Z. That should have been a safe guess, but that's fine. I'll take 1 week. And the specific one is that there was going to be a Ferengi cat. I was really confident we'd see a Ferengi cat, but I didn't see one anywhere.
I didn't see one anywhere either. But at the same time, we're not like watching this to the details that we would if we were actually reviewing it.
Yeah, actually sinning it. Cool. So, good place to go to is without the Deep Space Nine context of Lita and Rom. Did you enjoy that subplot with the Admiral that's dismissing Freeman and the negotiating backwards and forwards? Did you feel lost in it or did you enjoy it? Did it work?
For me, the story was about the shenanigans happening with our crew.
Yeah.
It wasn't super interesting to me because I thought, well, this is just going to do whatever it's going to do. I know it's not going to blow up all of Starfleet.
Yeah.
It might get them in trouble. And I wasn't attempting to even figure that part out exactly. I was really distracted by Mariner. At this point, the show is so focused on her self-sabotage.
Yeah.
And I have to believe that it's for a reason, but I'm worried it's not. Because sometimes we have the character flaws that we write into character development. And they're a really important part of character development because flaws enhance our own humanity and remind us that we can't be perfect and we shouldn't be perfect and that mistakes are part of life or problems are part of life. Like all that is a really beautiful part of a character. But with Mariner, I'm worried about her at this point. It's not just her mom problems or trying to prove who she is to her mother. It's not daddy issues. She's not trying to prove who she is to daddy. It's not even authority issues anymore because she's getting along with. It's something deep inside of her sin that is not allowing her to be happy. And the reason that I'm so distracted by it is because I want it to be a purposeful move by the writers. Like I want this to be poised to showcase like somebody struggling with depression or just an opportunity to talk about what happens when you really have to face yourself in the mirror and say, why am I sabotaging my life? This literally is no one else but me. What's going on? Is it a chemical imbalance thing? Is it a learned behavior thing? Is it an environmental stress thing? Should I even be in Starfleet? Is this right for me? Like, where are they taking her? Because it feels like it's either going to be meaningful or it's going to be a story crutch. And I don't want it to be a story crutch, like so bad.
I'm certain it's deliberate, and I'm certain it's going somewhere because multiple characters said, "Hey, why are you doing this to yourself?" Like they're hanging a lantern on it, like a lot. That still doesn't mean that I like it because this is one of my worries that I had at the start of this season was, are we going to have Boimler in a circle of self-doubt? And are we going to have Mariner in a circle of self-sabotage? And there is a fine line between making that part of their character and making it the only thing that they bloody do, which is, it's the only thing we seem to be doing with Mariner, is this self-sabotage stuff. Like, I'm fine exploring that, but it seems to be the only thing that we're exploring with her. Like, we can't see her do anything else.
I love her voice act, like the voice acting and the emotion.
I love her.
And the character itself is really interesting and dynamic, and they've kind of explored her attempting to sabotage her crew that she reports to, and that's even failing. So the writers are clearly cutting off avenues of being able to excuse away her behavior.
Yeah, exactly.
I just want to believe it's for a reason. So I was distracted by that. And I was even a bit distracted by the Tendi Rutherford stuff as well. Like,
I'm so proud. You remembered everyone's name.
I know, I'm doing so good. There's also in writing, of course, we want to see the love stories reflected for some reason.
No, we don't.
And this episode did an interesting thing where it's like, okay, we're going to explore that clearly we're showing you guys that these two have incredible chemistry, but it doesn't have to be romantic.
That's the lesson I took from it as well.
They're more comfortable in their friendship. And when they were on top of each other in the Jeffries tube at the end, I was delighted. I was so happy because I'm like, I have friends that I'm super fucking comfortable with. You give them hugs and snuggle up on the couch and watch TV, and it doesn't mean a fucking thing other than I'm just comfortable. And it's nice to see that done. If they undo this and make them into a romantic couple, I'll have to eat that later. But
I'll be if that happens, I will be baffled, and it would have to be something that happens in like season 7 where so much more has happened. I feel like that B plot, C plot, whatever you want to call it in this episode was explicitly saying, we hear you. No. Yes, you want them. You think you want them to get together. Yes, they're a great pair. Yes, they complement each other well. That's not what we're trying to do with these characters right now. They are, like you said, friends that are very close, work well together, are not, for whatever many reasons that don't have to be explained, not interested in pursuing a relationship together.
Yeah.
I love that. That was actually quite fresh.
There is that element of her blushing when receiving a compliment. And often when we see that, it denotes that there is some sort of a feeling there. But it also just could be somebody like enjoying getting a compliment and it was unexpected and it just and it doesn't have to be romantic.
You can also acknowledge that you're attracted to somebody without wanting to be in a relationship with them.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think like I was watching kind of that going, where are you going here? And then I was relieved. And I'm watching, Mariner and I'm thinking like, why am I so frustrated and annoyed at this lack of character development? But honestly, I know people like in my real life who like they self-sabotage because there's just a lot going on, that unresolved issues that they really need to talk to somebody professionally about. And it's going to take time. There's trauma, there's something going on. And oh, how beautiful would it be to watch this show hit a deeper note like that rather than the temptation to keep her as somebody who's just going to, because we've seen her be a good friend. We've seen her self-sacrifice so that her friends get to do something cool or great or not advance because she knows somebody else. Like we've seen her do really great things for her people. She is thoughtful. She does care. She is like, she's a dynamic character. Yeah. So this is an example of when someone's uglier side has the potential to ruin things. And the Ferengi character that's opposite her called her out on it in a way I don't think that other people could in her crew. And that just has to be purposeful. So I was distracted by that because I really got into thinking about the deeper elements of what it means to have a Mariner character front and center as she goes through this sort of like spiral of whatever she's going through and what it means. So there's that. And then with the who else? Oh, Boimler. Boimler just kind of like disappeared, didn't he? On this one.
Yeah. This seems to be happening with Boimler a lot. Like he gets relegated to some real D-plot kind of stuff. Yeah. Like he doesn't have center stage a lot. And I'm kind of okay with that, but it does seem a bit odd, doesn't it?
Is it because the voice actor is doing other things?
I mean, I would believe that. Like Jack Quaid is a wanted quantity at the minute. Like he's doing a lot of stuff, so I wouldn't be surprised. But at the same time, he loves doing this. Like he loves doing Star Trek. I think it is a deliberate story thing as well. I imagine we'll have more of him maybe when like the AI stuff, the secret alien ship, whatever that is doing turns up. But yeah, he's still kind of spinning his wheels a little bit for me too.
Yeah, and I don't mind it. I genuinely don't mind it because I think Boimler, and even in the way that they're talking about him, the higher ups are talking about him, like, I really like this kid. Like he's got it. And that they were proud of him for getting completely distracted by a television series. We can all relate to that.
Yeah,
like
that's
all of a sudden an hour has gone by and I'm just browsing shorts.
An hour. I wish it was YouTube. Just an hour.
My God. So I really related to that.
Can you imagine if Boimler found shorts?
Oh my God. Short-circuited his brain. So it was interesting. Goodness. So like our crew seems to be doing their little thing. So it was kind of a light approach to that. And then the other thing is it still feels a bit like, what's the progression here? The progression on this one seems to be the big news that the Ferengi are part of the Federation, which of course Star Trek nerds are going to be excited about. But we also still don't have any answers about Peanut Hamper.
No, we have the opening where a Ferengi ship is destroyed. So it's another race. There's just kind of like, it's just, hey, they're indiscriminately picking on all of these races for whatever reason. Are they testing the weapon? Are they just hitting whatever comes across their path? But when Freeman said that the Ferengi like kind of accelerated their admission into the Federation because their shipping lanes were being attacked, it looks like there is some targeted attacks going on. Like, it's not entirely random. It seems like specific ships are being attacked. So I'm quite interested in that. Bearing in mind, we are an episode behind everyone. So
yeah, we are an episode
this week's
behind.
Episode has revealed some stuff.
Well,
we don't know it yet.
So let's talk about what we could say that we learned in this episode, which is that one of the Ferengi people on the ship at the beginning was somehow involved.
Keith, I think his name was.
I hope it's Keith.
But I think it was like Keef.
I would just love to meet a Ferengi named Keith. Just like a regular Keith.
Yeah. Oh, regular Keith, not a Keith. Amazing.
Yeah, and there's something about that. So somebody knows what's going on outside of whomever is in the ship. And and it does seem to have a purpose, and it does seem to be a small development, but it's pretty obvious that this is going to be... So how many episodes are there now?
We got 7, 8, 9, and 10 left. So this was episode 6. 4 left.
Okay, so hopefully they do something before episode 9.
Yeah, and it's not just the season finale. Yeah. No, I think they will. I think there's only so far they can go with it. My prediction that all of those clips are going to play together to make an episode might be holding together, but it's just a 5-minute clip of ships getting blown up.
Yeah. I think overall it was fun. What did you think about... So do we know anything about this Ferengi character that Mariner is friends with? Or is this the first time that we've met them?
So this character came up in... it's a season 1 episode. It's one that you haven't seen. Yeah. And basically Boimler and Mariner go on an away mission, and Boimler's still trying to figure out Mariner. And Boimler's like kind of annoyed that he's not in charge of the mission. And all throughout this away mission, he makes a ton of mistakes, and Mariner has all of the answers, and Mariner's like, this regulation says this species does that cocktail does that, and he's like, how do you know all of this? You hate Starfleet, you hate your job, I do all of the studying and I keep getting it wrong. And at the very end of the episode, they're getting back to their shuttle. This Ferengi turns up out of nowhere. First time a Ferengi appeared on lower decks. So I was like, yay, Ferengi! And like does the typical hunched back Ferengi stuff. And Boimler's like, stand back, this is a Ferengi. And Mariner's like, that's not a Ferengi, that's a Bolian. And the Ferengi is this person, and it's her friend. And she's asked him to come along to make Boimler feel better. So she gets everything wrong about Ferengi. Boimler saves the day, and she like owes him a favor or something. And he eventually straightens himself up, puts his monocle on, and is like, oh, Mariner, anytime, happy to help. Was my Ferengi impression good? And he like plays up the Ferengi stereotype. So we've seen him before. Clearly they have a history. So it was cool for him to come back. No, he is a Ferengi, but he's a very like kind of intellectual, smart Ferengi. The idea was that the stereotype isn't all Ferengi. There is a spectrum of Ferengi as well, which is always fun.
So then the sin would be monocles indicate intelligence cliche.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I see.
How do we know this Ferengi is smart? He's wearing glasses. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, that was it clearly felt like something that they knew each other.
Yeah.
And then Mariner getting into a fight at the library was like, we didn't go into a lot of different places. So we kind of did.
No, this episode like clipped by so quick.
Really did.
Beats like the romance stuff. It does the self-sabotage stuff, and it does Boimler binging stuff. That's kind of the episode.
That's kind of it. Did we miss anything? Like, did the episode do anything for you that you really are excited that they did as like a Star Trek fan, besides obviously the big one being the Ferengi joining the story?
No, just the Ferengi stuff. Like seeing more of Ferenginar was fine. Like we got to see the more touristy spots, but seeing Lita and Rom and hearing their voices again, I think the actor's name is Max Grodenchek, who plays Rom, has such a distinctive voice. He barely has to change it from his regular voice. It's that really deep, oh, I like baseball. Baseball's fun.
Yeah.
And he's so hilarious. He's great. I loved seeing him. But yeah, Ferengi joining the Federation, that's the most exciting bit for me.
What was the line? This is what heaven would look like if God was stupid or something.
Don't you steal my quote at the end of the episode. Don't you do it.
It was just a funny way of
Don't
describing
you do it.
I'm so sorry.
It's incredible. I was like, I didn't know which way that was going because I thought, oh, Mariner must really like it. And then it ends with, if God was stupid. It's so great. It's such a backhanded insult. I love it. It's amazing. But yeah, loved that. I think that's it from the episode. We had a couple of Deep Space Nine references. So Mariner is polishing some self-sealing stem bolts, and they were kind of like the punchline of a lot of Deep Space Nine things. So Quark would be smuggling self-sealing stem bolts.
Oh,
we don't know what stem bolts are or why they need to self-seal. And like O'Brien would be like, I'm missing my self-sealing stem bolts. There would always be like the replicator was only making self-sealing stem bolts, or where did all of these self-sealing stem bolts came from? And you see them, but you don't know what they do, what they are, or how they exist. So it's perfect that Mariner happens to be polishing one.
Yeah, and Boimler said something about you're doing it so aggressively, you're going to burn a hole through it or something like that.
Yeah, it won't be able to self-seal anymore, which is kind of like, why are they self-sealing? What do they do?
So that's still the question.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did like that they're still working on the Sequoia, the shuttle that with each season gets gradually
about that.
More. We haven't seen it in a little while, but gradually, that ship is getting more and more prepared and will no doubt be taken on an adventure at some point.
And it's going to be good. Oh, maybe it's what they escape on when they have to leave their ship because it's going to be destroyed by Peanut Hamper. Speaking of ships, what did you think of having 2 ships in orbit?
That was my next note. How pretty is the ship? I don't know what class it is. I didn't even read what it was, but it looks like a jacked up version of the California class with like a bit more muscle, like it's had some steroids or something. It's so pretty.
I saw it. I thought, I don't know what makes this pretty, but Ian will.
Going to address the chat. It's a Vancouver class ship, and I think we have seen it before in another episode. I think it was in one of the season finales. But anyway, it's very, very pretty. I love the gag when Ransom comes in and says, so, Lieutenant Junior grade? Lieutenant Junior's grade. Lieutenant Junior's junior grades. Anyway, you guys, wondering where to put the plural is something we've had to do quite often. Like, where does the plural belong on this line?
That's the answer. Just put it on every one of them.
Junior's grades. Amazing. Anything else you loved from the episode, Deneé?
I sort of love there was a moment when Boimler was looking at his to-do list and then he started crossing them off. And his number 1 was just like, get checked in or something super simple and lame. And I love
need that.
I love this little glance into this man's mind that would probably have like, walk across the carpet, check.
Yeah.
Turn doorknob,
do up flies.
Check. Yeah.
Bottom, front to back.
But the reason I mentioned that is not because it was such a standout thing, but I really love the details of Lower Decks. And I'm sure if you were to go back and pause it and look at the landscape and read all the signs of the Ferengi land, Ferengari.
Nope.
Fereng Alpha 2.
Nope.
That you would see so much detail.
Ferenginar.
Yeah.
You would. I nearly sinned, like, why was there a bookstore? Like, why was there books? And of course, they immediately addressed it. I was like, yeah, this library hasn't had a book written in it in 1,000 years.
Or the food on the table, where it looks just like mealworms or something. I'm sure all of it has a purpose and it comes from somewhere.
Oh, yeah, it comes from other episodes where that's grubs. They love eating grubs. That's their meal of choice.
There you go. And so I was watching even the library scene thinking, oh, if I had the time to stop and really look into everything, there's probably a reason or a purpose for everything in this.
For sure. Yeah. There was just one other line that I really liked, and it was, since the Cerritos is statistically the horniest and least committed ship, this is why they've been picked. I love that so much.
Yeah, this is why they have to scan for STDs every weekend.
Yeah, they really need to
clear them out of the buffer.
My last note was kind of based on what you said about the signing of the Federation Treaty thing being less interesting, it's one of the times where we've referenced another iteration of Star Trek, and it hasn't really been part of the main story. So I think that was harder to appreciate unless you have all of the Deep Space Nine knowledge. You don't get how powerful Lita is. You don't get how stupid Rom is, and yet he's playing even stupider. I think you do miss some nuance that I think other episodes have done a better job of intertwining the fan service in. I mean, that's kind of proved it because you didn't really know what was going on. Or you kind of didn't have that same oomph to it as a Deep Space Nine fan would have.
I think that that's true for anything that this show does, and is that they ride that line, and I think they do a great job of it.
Oh, totally agree.
Where they're wanting to do fan service, but also tell a good story to someone who's never watched this material before.
Yeah.
So it felt like a normal episode for me because I do miss a lot of references.
Mm-hmm.
And we talk about that basically almost every episode. There's something that's like, oh, did you see this in the background?
Oh,
that's great. What this means, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So for me, it just feels like a regular episode. Honestly, it didn't feel like I was missing out because they gave me enough context clues. I didn't need to know that they meant something major.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know that I felt that the only relationship I knew that I was missing out on that I felt maybe would have mattered is actually Mariner's Ferengi buddy, Mr. Monocle.
Yeah,
because
that's
there was
true.
I had no context, and it was very clear that they knew each other. So because they didn't say anything about like what happened last time, I just was left to kind of go, I guess she knows him, and I guess they're friends. Because I didn't know if it was going to turn into a thing where she was doing something nefarious. Maybe she was talking to him about some secret mission that she had started, and that's what was eating her alive on the inside, and maybe she's part of the reason why Peanut Hamper is out there in the world. Like there's and she's talking to a Ferengi about smuggling something since Ferengis, but there was nothing there. It was just checking in with a friend and drinking, and someone saying, I've evolved beyond this party life, like go get your shit together. And so I kind of felt like I was missing something there more than I was missing the Deep Space Nine references. Now I know I'm missing the Deep Space Nine references, but I don't ever want to watch Deep Space Nine because that show sucked.
No, don't say that. Oh no.
I'm kidding. I just wanted to see your face when I said it.
I may have to cut that out of the show. Oh my goodness.
Everyone can handle it. I'm kidding.
You can take it. We're gonna we don't usually watch stuff in order unless it's live, kind of like on the air right now. Deep Space Nine, we may just have to go episode 1 and go all the way through and just do 250 episodes of Deep Space Nine. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, I'm glad you still enjoyed it. I agree. It's kind of the lower end of the season, mainly because of the Mariner stuff, to be completely honest. But there are sins. So without further ado, let's head over to engineering. Battle stations, everyone.
Warning. Warp core collapse in 10 seconds.
This is the part of the show where we re-engage our sin brains, remind ourselves that no TV shows without sin, even our beloved Star Trek. Ambassador. I'm going to go first. Ambassador, go first.
No, you go first.
No, I was kidding.
No, please, you can go first. No. This is a lovely show.
This was a big one for me, a portable Genesis device. Oh my goodness. So this is the very beginning of the episode. The Ferengi ship is throwing out a ton of weapons and stuff, and they find a Genesis device, and the other guy says it's too small, and they said it's a portable version that's used for terraforming. Now, the Genesis device is a very dangerous weapon that when it detonates, it basically terraforms an entire planet. So it destroys all of the life that's on it and then recreates a new beautiful biome. And I'm just baffled that they've made mini versions that are just being tossed around with disruptors.
There you go.
I'm scared that it exists, and I'm scared that they're throwing it away.
It did get destroyed.
It did. Actually, that's really scary. I really hope that there's a nebula out there now where that Ferengi ship once was, and it's just creating all kinds of havoc. Yeah.
I'm going to be taking a sense from the chat because I don't have very many today. This one's from J.A. who says, Lita's reforms haven't included making the men nude instead of the women. And I'm just realizing that that's why the woman was nude in the background at the restaurant, and I didn't realize it.
Yeah, so there was basically, the rule in Ferengi culture has always been the women aren't allowed to wear clothes. They are not worthy of wearing clothes.
Oh, I remember that from the episode whenever they kidnapped Deanna Troy.
Exactly, and they stripped down her mum.
Luxwana.
Luxwana.
Oh, yeah, Luxwana.
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 You want to what now?
I apologize.
They don't think women need wear clothing, and it's actually Rom and Quark's mum who starts wearing clothes and kind of has a relationship with the previous Ferengi world leader and insists on reforms that say women can do business, they can own a business, they can own property, and they can wear clothes.
Yeah, they can.
Yeah, so it's a recent development in Ferengi history.
I like that. I like this sin because it means that it wasn't included and that men should be all...
Yeah, I think that would kind of defeat the object if you then forced the men to be naked.
If you're forcing them to, like as a retaliation.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. Pulling a Barbie movie.
Yeah, right.
Right, my next one is that I don't know how he worked out Keith was a traitor so conveniently quickly.
That was quick.
He literally sniffed it. And I don't think Ferengi are famous for having a good sense of smell. Like, maybe if they could hear his heartbeat,
Ferengi.
like maybe he can hear like an elevated pulse rate or something. But either way, Keith did something really dumb to give himself away, or that captain is psychic.
Yeah, this quick Google search isn't going to help that at all because I said, can Ferengi smell lies? And an unrelated link is all that's been given to me that says Ferengi would smell like Axe body spray. So this is not anything I need to go down.
I don't know if
I'm not going down that one.
I think they would smell like a really, really cheap version of an expensive, like, aftershave thing, cologne. Your turn.
This one's from Flyboy who says, Sin, Boimler's realization that commercials just lie to you is funny as hell, but the sin is for the fact that commercials lie to you. Yeah.
Yep, we would sin that.
No regulations on that stuff. Yeah.
I have a sin about Councillor Meglimoo in general. This is the bird councillor that turns up and outs them. My big sin is that he conveniently outs them so conveniently. Just obviously, like, I know it's deliberate, but it's like, that's not how you greet people. Like, we will sin you for that. But just in general, that if Boimler, if Mariner ends up going to him for help, as she should, to find out why am I being so self-destructive, I think we're going to struggle to take him seriously because he is the butt of the joke a lot of the time, and he is the comic relief when he's the ship's counselor. And if the show wants to do something about helping Mariner work through her issues and whatnot, it's going to be hard to take Meglimoo serious now because he's always he kind of just makes one-liners about being a bird.
He sure does.
That's kind of just what he does.
Yeah. Another sin about the TV from the chat. I'd sin Ferengi TV for being so addictively binge-worthy, but instead I'll sin binging and the time that I spent rewatching all 15 seasons of ER. I feel this in my bones because I started to watch Grey's Anatomy and just decided that I needed to go back and watch every fucking episode of Grey's Anatomy.
No, there's a lot
took
of
me
those.
A long time.
Isn't it still going?
It's still going.
Stopped?
And then the outlet that I had to watch it, I didn't pay for it anymore. So now I can't watch it. So my streak has ended, and it's
you have to start again.
No.
No. This is just the life of a Star Trek fan, though. I just do laps of Star Trek. Like, it's not like, I have to rewatch this. I'm just going to keep watching it. We don't rewatch, we just continue to watch. That does actually link into my next sin, which was that Boimler looks wrecked and destroyed at the end of this episode. And my sin is lightweight because Ransom's like, you watched 8 hours of TV or whatever. And I'm like, 8 hours? Get out of here. Like, I might look like that after a month.
I think he was just eating chips.
Welcome to my life.
And then I think I saw one of those sodas beside him.
Yeah.
Which means
he shouldn't look that bad after 8 hours. 8 hours is lightweight. That's easy. That's not a binge. That's a day.
I mean, maybe, unless the food gave him some sort of allergy. He looked like he was stoned. He looked like he was doing some sort of inhalant drug out of some sort of smoking apparatus, which would have given me...
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I mean, we watched 10 episodes of Deep Space Nine back to back while we were working. We just had them on in the background. Like, that's not difficult. That's 9 hours gone.
He just forgot to blink. That's the sin.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
You should always blink if you're binging.
Here's another one from chat from Cameron who says, Sin, every single Ferengi has the same teeth. And by that, I mean identically drawn. I noticed that as well. It seemed like the animation choices was to not really give them individuality in their little teethy regions. Yeah.
Little diamonds. Yeah, that makes sense. Everything appears to be set up to catch them out as lying about being a couple, and it's yeah, I know it's deliberate, but it's like this hotel, the restaurant, the photographer, everything was specifically designed to make them have to overcommit to be even more uncomfortable. So yeah, we would sin that.
Yeah, we would definitely sin stuff because that's what we do.
Like you said, the lie detecting chairs that know if you're lying and you have to say something you find attractive about the other person.
Here's another one from Flyboy who says, the Ferengi libraries are foreshadowing the future fate of libraries in real life. Read books, people. So the sin here is reading. Ding.
Ding.
I mean, because look what happens. If you choose to read, that means libraries exist. And if libraries exist, that means they turn into casinos. Yeah. So just don't read. That's the sin.
Just don't read. Yeah. Just let them die. Don't do that.
Let knowledge die.
Don't let the books die. Yeah. There are like no libraries in England anymore. It's crazy. My next sin, I just literally wrote this. Boy, the Ferengi stuff got wrapped up quick. It really did. Like the treaty at the end.
Oh yeah, that was fast.
So fast. Freeman comes in with the trick. They sign it. They backpedal, and then they sign the actual agreement. And I'm like, wow, that was immediate.
It was so fast.
This worked perfectly, Freeman. So, like, way too perfectly.
But at the same time, I was really impressed because that would have meant that everybody read the contract before showing up to the meeting. And I don't know about you. How many meetings have you been to where it's like, did you read the contract? And they're like, yeah, I sure did. And you know that they didn't. And so then there's this like ethical obligation to kind of go, okay, let's go over it line by line and make sure you know what you're saying. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another one. Sin, like most sacred scriptures, the rules of acquisition contradict themselves. So the sin is for sacred scripture.
And to quote another show, just wait for the translation. That's when it really gets messy. Like they contradict themselves in the intended language. Wait until people start translating them into different languages and see how that changes the interpretation. Yeah, I completely agree. This is a really nitpicky sin. They mention the Mariner's Ferengi friend mentions that the last time she got demoted was because she crashed at her birth. And that is a type of starship. It's the same class as the USS Pegasus. And it's one of my favorite designs because it's so kooky. And I have one, and they didn't show us one animated. So don't mention the birth if you're not going to animate one and show it to me. But in my head, the one that she crashed is the Pegasus, which would mean that she was around during TNG times. And I would love that.
Yeah.
It would also mean that Riker and Mariner were on the same ship at some point. And I don't think that lines up unless Mariner is 45 or 50.
She could be. You never know.
She could be.
Her mother would then be also very young.
Yes. Or older than we think. Yeah.
How about a sin removal from chat for Rutherford's attempts at pet names during the episode, like Muffin Top?
That's not what you want.
Also, Smoopsy.
Smoopsy.
I loved that because they were so. I really like he really struggled.
Yeah.
And the voice acting on that was fun to listen to.
The voice acting is top notch. It's incredible.
Slugballs.
Yep. Love sniff. Sometimes they just devolved into sounds. Muffle me. That's amazing. Well, I don't have any more sins. I think that's all of them. Unless we dive in for another half an hour. Do you have any more today?
I have a sin-off suggestion in the chat for the Sluggo chips, but that's it.
Okay. There's Sluggo Cola as well, which I think is actually mentioned in Deep Space Nine, which is amazing. I love that. Okay. Thanks for listening, everyone. Next week, we would be doing Season 4, Episode 7. We will be doing Episode 7 of Lower Decks as we ramp up to the back end of Season 4. Come and join us live, 12:30 Central on the CinemaSins live Twitch channel. and the CSPN YouTube channel at the live tab on the YouTubes. Come and join us and say hi. And if not, listen to the episode on Wednesdays. One of the patrons of the Sinclub get it on Tuesdays at 5 p.m. Central.
That sounds so exciting. And so exciting, I'm going to go ahead and jump into my quote as a reaction to that.
Okay.
You don't have to throw up in my mouth twice. Let's do it.
And I'm what a human would look like if God was stupid.
Oh, no.
Live long and Podsper.
Thanks for listening. Want to connect with the show? Our hailing frequencies are always open through captainspod@cinemasins.com. Like, comment, and subscribe on your podcast player of choice, and be sure to visit cinemasins.com.
New Mikey Mike. Let's have a look. Hello, hello, hello. I have moved Aaron's stuff around. He doesn't like it when I do that.
I've made a series of errors, Captain.
Oh no. I'm getting used to this.
First, I've made coffee, which is not an error.
No, that's a good thing. You need coffee.
But I put on that lip gloss that I've told you about that's like putting icy hot.
Oh, the spicy one?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Right.
So there's a
right.
mix of sensations. My lips are aflame.
Yeah.
And I have coffee. I feel like I've also brushed my teeth.
Yeah. Wait.
And
just now?
And yeah, like right before.
Right.
I brushed my teeth and then I put on the lip gloss and then I stirred my coffee up.
Yeah.
And I also, but the biggest error of all is that I wanted to have a snack while we watched the show and I wanted it to be salsa and chips.
But that's so many different flavors. Like, do you have Tabasco to hand?
That's why I've made an error. I've made a significant errors today.
The replicator would not allow you to order all of those things at once. It would be like, you don't want this.
I really wanted salsa.
You can eat the salsa. Just maybe give it a minute.
I think I'll eat the salsa and then I'll reheat. I'll just have to just do the thing where I have coffee after salsa, because it can't be coffee then salsa. It has to be salsa then coffee, right?
I mean, yeah, I think you can get away with either, but if you have to pick one, then yes.
Well, I do. If I'm gonna have it, I have to decide.
That's true.
I am making the choice.
But I don't really mind mixing those things.
Coffee and salsa doesn't seem wise. I mean, if you're going for the flavor of it.
Fine.
If it's functional, then it's not a big deal. You just don't worry about taste and you just consume the stuff. But if you're going for flavor.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't have coffee with anything.
That's true. Well, no. I like coffee with certain kinds of cookies.
Biscuits, yeah. Coffee and biscuits is nice.
Yeah. But aren't your biscuits more like crackery?
No. Crackers are crackers. Biscuits are biscuits.
I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to confess to something because, you're back in town. So now this is really important.
Let's do it.
You left something at my house.
Oh, no.
You left a blue, tightly packed, oddly rigid sleeve of quote unquote cookie things. Teeth. They were like really.
Oh, yeah. Malted milks. Yeah.
I don't think they were called
or
malted
rich teas.
anything.
Rich teas? Rich tea biscuits?
Maybe.
Nice? Were they just called nice biscuits?
But they're blue.
Yeah, blue packaging?
Yeah.
Or blue biscuits? Blue packaging. Yeah.
So then I was like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to dip into a tea or something.
Yes, correct, but not unattended. Did you do it on your own?
What do you mean unattended?
You need lessons.
How?
You can't just... Because what will happen is you'll lose the biscuit in the tea.
I mean, hi, I'm Deneé. I'm not an infant. I can figure out.
Okay, right. Everybody that is English right now is scoffing and laughing because even the best among us, even the most avid tea drinkers, have lost biscuits in tea. This happened to me last week.
I've lost cookies in milk. Like, I know how that works. You just can't let it soak too long, right?
Yeah, but but you don't know these biscuits. Each biscuit has a different timing for it, and depending on how hot the tea is. So I was going to guide you into it so that we didn't have any unnecessary casualties.
I chucked them in the bin. They tasted like shit.
What?
That's what I was going to confess to you.
Did they not taste good?
They were horrible.
Maybe I just got some bad ones.
Maybe you have a problem with your flavor palette.
Oh, no. Yeah, maybe you're just a dick, Deneé.
I was like, oh, these look yummy, and I don't need them to be super sweet or anything, but no.
Interesting. I really want to know what they were because I remember bringing biscuits and I did forget to.
I ate
have them.
3 of them to be sure. And by the way, none of them fell apart in my tea.
Okay.
So this whole like, oh, you American, you don't know how to soak up a biscuit is.
You don't. You guys so rarely have to do it.
I clearly do, as I've already have done it. I can't
think you
prove
did it right.
to you anymore because
No.
I chucked them.
Well, because you didn't like it, I think that means you did it wrong. If you'd have done it right, you'd have liked the biscuit. Can I show you something?
Yeah, but I have a question about toothbrushes in space first.
Okay, go for it.
So like I know like in the Star Trek universe they have sonic showers, but do they just open their mouth and then it's just cleaned off?
We haven't seen a toothbrush. No, we haven't seen any oral hygiene.
Oral hygiene?
I would think, like you have the dermal regenerators that can like seal up wounds. We saw Dr. Ta'ana use one. There has got to be a little doodad that just goes in your mouth and descales,
Something.
deplaques, or you know what? I'm so dumb. They'll have it baked into the food and water. You know, like how we have fluoride in the water. They'll have an anti-plaque thing in all of their food and water. No, I'm so dumb. Whenever they go through a transporter, the transporter is programmed to beam out all of the plaque. Yeah.
Just a plaque. No plaque. No
That's the smart
specific
choice.
like oral bacterias. Okay. I like how you got there. You're like, I'm so dumb. I'm still dumb. I'm the dumbest one.
You got to think in Star Trek terms, Ian. Amateur.
Did you know that they're working on a drug that will regrow teeth?
No.
I'm scared for this personally. Like, how do you know it's going to regrow the tooth in the shape that you want it?
Oh, in case it regrows in incisor?
It's just, and all of a sudden we're just walking around with like tusks and such.
Oh, mouth full of molars. I think that would be weirder. Just having all molars at the front.
Or like, when people don't cut their fingernails or toenails and they just
And they
grow all
curl.
wonky and they
Yeah.
curl. Like we just have curly, weird teeth. It could be available within sometime in the next 10 years.
Yeah. Okay, so whenever you see a science thing that says 5 to 10 years, it means they don't know.
Scientists in Japan have developed a drug that can regrow teeth, and they're nearly ready to begin human trials. So
Well,
there's just
that's
probably a whole
promising.
bunch of like rats and such that just have teeth on the
That's
back of their
terrifying.
bodies.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. Have you seen the movie Teeth?
No.
Where do you think the horror movie would put teeth where there should not be teeth?
Your anus.
The other one.
I'm just trying to figure out how you're talking about like the vaginal
Yep.
canal as quote unquote the other one to the anus.
The other
you
one.
You have an anus and you don't have a vagina, so
No.
how would that work for you?
The other one. Well, I
For
I
you?
wouldn't have it. No. The other one on a woman, biologically speaking.
There we are.
Yeah.
There we are. Okay.
So just in there, teeth. But yeah, this movie is about that and men having their penis bitten off.
Oh, so it's like an active tooth situation. It's not like she can chomp.
She can chomp and
Oh.
bite down. Yeah, I think it's meant to be a commentary on something.
Vasectomies?
Yes, it's not a very subtle one. She's a vasectomist.
The need for more birth control for men
Yeah,
rather than just a
exactly.
vasectomy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Wow.
Although I don't think that's a good contraception because it's in there.
What's in there?
The penis. To get bitten off, it has to be in there.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying if there was more options, people wouldn't have to have their penis bitten off
True. Yes.
to become sterile.
This is some incentive too. Yeah. When you just wrote a message that said, sets out banner that reads chaos, and I read that as boner.
You read the word banner as boner?
Boner. Yeah, I did. Absolutely. Yeah.
Just a reminder, everyone, this is an R-rated show, and if you're a
18 plus.
child, you should
Yeah.
not be watching it. 18 plus, please.
Yeah.
And if you're here without consent from your parents, you're going to just need to go ahead and just hit the X.
Yeah.
Move along.
You don't want to be here.
Move along, little doggy.
I wonder how old our youngest listener is.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Do we need to add like a little warning to the beginning of our episodes?
That ship has sailed. We're on episode 96.
Shit.
That has happened.
I watched a show called Big Brother Australia, and I watched the year that the pandemic started.
Okay.
And so it was really interesting because like partway through is when the pandemic like really got serious and they had to.
Well, I guess the advantage is they're already isolating.
Yep. But then they're hearing about how the world is shutting down while they're stuck in this. It was very strange. But anyways, there's this guy. His name I think was Kieran, and he would just do that a lot. And he was driving his housemates nuts, and so they did like a little supercut of all the times he was doing that. It was delightful.
That is absolutely like when you get cabin fever, it doesn't matter. The logic is irrelevant. Anything will annoy you.
People were put up for eviction because they ate like the last couscous.
Someone has to have it.
Phil says, y'all noticed the Paramount emblem behind Boimler when he was watching TV and commenting about a commercial in a show. I did notice that because it kind of like all the stars went and I didn't know if it made a sound or not, but in my imagination it did.
I missed
could
that.
Be real.
Entirely. I think I was taking notes.
I totally missed the Paramount reference though.
Yeah.
Because I thought, what was that? And that's what it was, Phil. And that's fucking brilliant.
It really is. Like them putting an advertisement in that show. That's Rick and Morty levels of clever.
Here's one from Slab that I missed. Big sin for me is why are the Ferengi allowed into the Federation and why do the Ferengi want to join? Seems to go against everything we learned about them from DS9, even with their reforms. It's only been a few years.
It's quick. Yeah, it's probably, I think we're looking at like, I can do the math on this, 6 years past Deep Space Nine, 7 at the most. So it is quick, but they mentioned that because the shipping lanes are being attacked, it's accelerated their wish to join the Federation. But I think after the Dominion War, this kind of stuff really accelerated, and the Federation and Starfleet were reaching out to more people to kind of make alliances. So I'm fine with it. I think it's exciting. Like, it's really cool. Zinc says, I really like this. Ian, period. Very formal.
Yeah.
Ferengi, with an H, is an old Persian word for European or foreigners in general. So there you go. Period. I love that. That's really cool. I like that. I had a feeling it would come from somewhere. Question. What is Moab 4? This is the one that was brought up, right? Yeah, I need to Google. That name sounds familiar. Moab 4. Let's see what happens. Moab 4, Memory Alpha. Barren fourth planet in the Moab system located in the Moab sector. It was the home to a human genome colony.
I knew that part.
Yeah.
Get to the part we don't know anything about because we all knew that part already.
Yeah. Home to the human genome colony.
That part, right there. That part. Read that part.
Oh, the Masterpiece Society.
Yeah. That's what we're looking for.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a weird episode. So that's like, there are some people that have like been genetically engineered and stuff, and their roles are decided ahead of time. So you're either born to be the leader, a pianist, an artist, an engineer, and you don't really get to choose, and no one's allowed to leave. So, of course, the Enterprise turns up and everyone wants to leave.
Of course.
Thus, problem. And Deanna falls in love with somebody.
There you go. When was the last time you did Trek or Triction, right? That's a great question.
So, full disclosure, I stopped doing Trek or Triction because I think I was doing a bad job of it. Because
hold on, let me cue some sad music. Will you hang on for a second? Yeah, let me.
Yeah, I'll wait.
Let me see if I can pull up some sad music. You know, like.
Nope.
You have to make it work.
Oh, we're just gonna stick for this. Okay. I have an apology. So I don't think Trek or Triction was working very well because I don't know. Maybe I was doing too good a job. Because, like, you were really struggling to guess one way or the other. Like, it was too ridiculous or too easy. Like, you didn't have enough to latch onto to logically decide if it's an episode or not. So I may need to re-engineer it and try it again. How did you feel about it, Deneé? Was it frustrating for you, or did you enjoy it? Or did you enjoy the frustration?
What I remember about Trek or Triction was I think it's fun for the person who knows the answer that's listening, and
exactly.
It doesn't matter how I feel.
I don't want that, though. I don't want it to be more fun for me than it is for you.
Okay. You know the games that are like choose your own adventure?
Okay.
So what if we evolve Trek or Triction to be something like
Choose your trek.
Should I explain it before you start getting excited?
No, I'm going to title it first.
Honestly, choose your trek works well. So pick a random episode in your mind that you know really, 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 really well. Okay.
But give me a second.
Like super,
also one that we
super
haven't.
well. No,
Yeah,
it could be one that I've seen before.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
totally fine.
Yep.
Okay.
Got it.
So then you would pick like the first wacky thing that happens, and then you would make something up, and then I would have to choose which one I wanted it to be, and then see how close I got to the real version.
Nice.
So that way, it's kind of like a choose your own adventure, like a plot your own course, Cameron, exactly like that.
Nice. Plot your own course. So is it multiple choice, and you have
Just
to try
two.
and pick the right one?
I mean, if at the end you can tell me how many I got that were right.
Okay, I like that. I can do that. Is my nose wonky?
Wonky? What do you mean wonky?
Like bent to one side, like over there a bit.
You have run into several poles and met them with your face, I've heard.
Twice. Yeah.
So probably.
It's happened twice. Yeah.
Are you just now realizing this?
What, that I ran into the poles? No, I realised at the time. It was really painful.
No, I meant like that your nose is wonky.
Yeah, just now. Might just
Is
be
it-
the camera.
It could
Like
be
have it deviated.
the lighting.
Could be the lighting.
You shouldn't do this because
No?
then no, but it's like the Tom Cruise thing.
Oh, when you realise he has the
his
middle
teeth.
tooth. Yeah.
Yeah, once you see it, you can never watch him again.
And we're back to teeth.